Welcome back to Lavender Recap. In today's video, we'll be going through an Oscar-winning South Korean thriller and dark comedy movie from the year 2019 titled Parasite. If you're visiting this channel for the first time, I'd love to have you as a subscriber. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. Ki-woo Kim is a young man who lives in poverty with his family in the slums of an unnamed South Korean city with his father Ki-tae Kim, mother Chung-suk Kim, and sister Ki-jung. The family lives in a garden unit where they struggle to find a Wi-Fi signal to sneak into to watch TV, get fumigated, and have to watch men urinating in the alley outside their home. They make ends meet by doing menial tasks like folding pizza boxes, and even then, they're chastised by the pizza employees for sloppy folding. Min-hyuk, Ki-woo's healthy buddy, pays the family a visit and gives them a gift, a rock supposed to bring fortune and prosperity to those who hold it. He then informs Ki-woo that he has been tutoring the adolescent daughter of a wealthy family. He's leaving to study abroad, but he's head over heels in love with the daughter and knows that any of the other university boys would steal her away. He desires Ki-woo to be her tutor since he believes he will keep a watch on her so that Min-hyuk could propose to her once she finishes high school. Because he isn't enrolled in college, Ki-woo is aware that he isn't eligible. But Min-hyuk pledges to speak for him, so he accepts and has Ki-jung fake credentials for him to take to his interview. Ki-woo's sister is a graphic designer, so she creates a phony degree for him. Then Ki-woo goes to that location to teach. Ki-woo interviews with a very wealthy Park family, where he meets Mr. Park, his scattered-brained wife Mrs. Park and their children, Da-hye a teen and Da-sung a young boy. Ki-woo realizes he needs to flirt with Da-hye in order to get the job, and he does. Mrs. Park pays him a large sum of money and mentions that Da-sung needs an art tutor. Da-sung had a traumatic incident in which he saw a ghost in the house and had a seizure, and he has been in need of assistance with his art ever since. Ki-woo is now aware that her younger brother Da-sung enjoys art. They hired a lot of teachers for it, but no one stayed. Ki-woo believes his sister is artistic and considers asking her to be his art teacher. This is the point at which we can see the entire family begin to devise effective plans to find their way to jobs at parks. While speaking with Da-sung's mother, he mentions that his cousin is artistic and recommends that she be hired. Da-sung's mother agrees when she hears it. Ki-woo introduces them to Ki-jung, who forges documents for herself and goes by the name Jessica, and she too starts making money by the bucket load. She not only impresses the family with her talent, but she also convinces them that she is an art therapist. However, her real name is not revealed so that no one doubts their bloodline as siblings. Now, both brothers and sisters perform their duties as teachers to those brothers and sisters. Mr. Park arrives one day just as Jessica finishes her first class. He instructs his driver to deliver Jessica to her residence. The driver does as he is instructed. He also goes to drop Jessica off because it's too late in the evening. Jessica informs the driver that she wishes to be dropped off at the metro station, and the driver does so. Sitting in the car, Jessica plays a ruse in order for their owner to have doubts about the driver's character, and Mr. Park falls for the ruse as he suspects that the driver is having an affair with her son's art teacher. He tells his wife about it, and then his wife questions Jessica about that night she was dropped off by the driver. She claims to have gotten off at a metro station and then gone home. They fired the driver as a result of that incident. Jessica does it so that her father can take over as the driver. And then she suggests to Parks that her uncle's driver is an expert and that they hire him. She eventually introduces her father as her uncle's driver. Her father is also hired. As a result, three of them, as a father, brother, and sister, begin working at Parks. They pretend to be strangers to one another so that their owners don't suspect them. Meanwhile, we can see Ki-woo and Da-hye become friends in the coaching class. Ki-woo and Ki-jung now want their mother to work in that house as well. To accomplish this, they must release the maid, Moon Kwang, from housekeeping duties, but it was not so simple. So they devise a strategy. They discover that the maid is allergic to peach fuzz, so they do the same thing and sprinkle the peach fuzz on the maid while she's playing with a dog, causing her to have an allergic reaction. Ki father Woo's arrives as she's on her way to the hospital and takes a picture with the maid in the backdrop. And then he takes Mrs. Park shopping and tells her that he saw a housemaid in the hospital showing a selfie of himself. He fabricates a lie, claiming that he overheard her reluctantly suffering from tuberculosis, but Mrs. Park doesn't believe him. So Ki-jung pours more peach fuzz on the maid as she cuffs. Meanwhile, Mrs. Park arrives home and the maid cuffs into a tissue paper which she discards. Taking advantage of the situation, the driver pours some red sauce in tissue paper and shows it to Mrs. Park, convincing her that his words are true. They dismiss the maid in the same manner, and the driver introduces her wife to them as a cook. Finally, his wife is hired, leading the Park family to believe that the entire Kim family has been hired. When the Park family decides to go camping for Da-sung's birthday weekend, the Kim family takes advantage of the opportunity to stay in the massive park house for the weekend. They've been drinking and eating and making a mess of the place all evening when the doorbell rings. It's Moon Kwang. She claims she was fired so quickly that she wasn't able to obtain anything and simply wants it returned. Mrs. Kim hesitantly lets her in, and Moon Kwang yells her away into the basement, uncovering a secret passage hidden behind some bookshelves. She visits her husband, Gun-se, who has been living in the bunker secretly since the previous owner moved out to avoid loan sharks. Mrs. Kim watches in fear as she feeds him. She tells Moon Kwang she has to leave, and as Moon Kwang begs her to stay, the rest of the Kim family slides from the stairs and into view, and they call Dad and so on, which Moon Kwang videos on her phone, recognizing the family's deception. She threatens to send it to the Park family and uses this to force the Kim family to do their bidding. The Kim family gains the upper hand, allowing them to enter the secret bunker, but the Park family calls. They've canceled their camping trip due to rain and will be home in 8 minutes. The Kims scramble, attempting to clean up as much of the mess as possible while keeping the other two in the basement. They do a good enough job that the rest of the family can hide while Mrs. Kim prepares the Park's dinner. When Moon Kwang escapes and runs upstairs, Mrs. Kim shoves her back down the stairs, where she hits her head and is severely injured. Moon Kwang and Gun-se have been imprisoned in the bunker. Mr. and Mrs. Spark start sleeping in the living area to keep a watch on Da-sung, who now is camped out in the backyard, forcing the Kims to lie under the table, chilly all night while the Parks complain about Mr. Kim's stink and then have sex. They eventually sneak out in the middle of the night. When they return home, they discover that their apartment has been completely flooded by rain and sewage. Ki-woo takes the rock and the family spends the night in a shelter. Mrs. Spark decides to throw an impromptu party for Da-sung the next day. The Kim family, in their roles as servants, are invited and must pretend that they are unaware that two people are locked in a bunker beneath the house. Ki-woo brings the rock down into the bunker where Moon Kwang has died, only to be ambushed by Gun-se, who bludgeons him in the head with a rock. He then enters the party, stabbing Ki-jung in the chest. The party erupts in terror, and Da-sung collapses. Gun-se was the ghost he saw previously in the house. Mr. Park shouts for the keys to transport his son to the hospital and throws them to the driver. Mr. Kim is fighting to stop Ki-jung's bleeding. They land beneath Gun-se, who is engaged in a fight with Mrs. Kim. She kills him by stabbing him with a meat skewer. Mr. Park obtains the keys but expresses disgust at Gun-se's odor, which elicits a reaction from Mr. Kim, who snaps and stabs Mr. Park, killing him. Mrs. Park passes out as Mr. Kim flees. Ki-woo awakens in the hospital after being in a coma for weeks. He discovers Ki-jung's death, and he and Mrs. Kim are sentenced to probation. There has been no sign of Mr. Kim, despite the fact that police have been searching for him for Mr. Park's murder all over the country. Ki-woo leaves the rock in the river and observes the former Park house where a German family is currently living. He notices the lights flickering. Ki-woo translates the flickering from Morse code and discovers Mr. Kim is operating lighting from within the bunker where he's currently staying while sneaking upstairs to smuggle food from the current owners. Ki-woo writes to his father saying that he will earn the money and buy the same house so that his father can finally come out of the basement and live with them. It does happen. Ki-woo buys the house and Ki-taek emerges from the basement unafraid. Sadly, the film concludes with us seeing that it was his imaginations that took him far beyond reality and that he's still trapped in the basement. What are your reviews on the movie? Comment below.